I'm joined by Howard Roberts from HP, and we're here to discuss some of the challenges and opportunities for the print industry in the coming year. And Howard, could you start by maybe introducing yourself and telling us a bit about your role at HP?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a distinguished technologist for HP, so that's a strategist level. I'm part of our global services advisory practice, so I tend to interface with some of the more strategic aspects of our customers, CTOs and so on, and talk about HP strategy around document and print services, and also take their feedback and bring that back into HP to make sure we're meeting the requirements that they have going forward.
Yeah, so you're very close, therefore, to the customer in terms of working with large enterprises. What are some of the factors you're hearing around in terms of their priorities when they're selecting print technology?
So one thing we're seeing, and I'm really glad to see it, because HP's been banging on about it for years, is the requirement for security when it comes to these devices. So we're seeing appearing in RFPs requirements for technologies such as embedded protection of BIOSes and anti malware technologies and certificate management to prove that device identity. So all the things you might see around PCs and servers is finally making their way into RFPs for print devices.
And you did a really great session on Microsoft Windows protected print, and it'd be great to understand a bit more about what you think is going to be the impact on that to organisations managing huge enterprise fleets and how HP is addressing that.
So first of all, HP welcomes it. The more secure the print transport is between the user and the end user device, the better. So I think it's going to be a challenge for many organisations. First of all, because it isn't widely known much around unless it's around the vendor, the manufacturer said that this is actually happening. So outside of the print community, not many people know it's coming. And there are going to be some significant changes for customers based on the way that they used print in the past. Their traditional view of the printer driver is going away.
Yeah.
The experience won't necessarily change for the end user, but it will for print and device administrators. So the fact that Microsoft's adopting standards-based print, which they'd already done for Microsoft Universal Print, but they're adapting it for their kind of on-premise infrastructure for the print appliance through the IPP class driver, which is the industry standard, and then to the device itself. That's going to be a significant change for administrators for the way that they look after their print environment.
Yeah, so do you think it's effectively the death of the print driver, in terms of the traditional driver that we all know?
Well, maybe not for a while. If you think about the whole industry that's built up around the office print, architecture for the last 25 years, 25 years of what might be called as legacy or traditional printing is not going to go away just like that. So I think we'll certainly see a significant portion of the print move to PSA and moving on to the device or through a solution. But I think that at some point in the past, when you look at things like maybe host-based printing or printing from big iron like Unix or mainframes, there's going to be a challenge for routing those through maybe a Windows server that's got Windows protected print turned on. So we have to go and evaluate with those customers where that print is actually going. So I think that the death of the printer driver, maybe 90% of it will actually disappear, but there'll always be corner cases with a long established technology where that's going to be difficult to actually replace.
Yeah, especially organisations who've got a legacy print environment.
Yes.
And actually the whole impact of Microsoft, because they're clearly going to have a huge impact in terms of this big change that's going to come in the next couple of years, and they've already made a start on that with universal print. Have you got any comments around HP and how it's addressing the universal print requirement in the cloud infrastructure?
So the cloud, Microsoft Universal Print, yes, yeah. Well, I mean, our customers are asking for it, so it's in our devices. At launch, we actually had it through extensibility. So HP WorkPath, which is where you are able to add cloud capabilities through extensibility to a device that didn't necessarily have them from the factory, that was available almost at launch for HP Universal Print. And as we've moved on, we've seen more requests from customers to actually have it in device and firmware because, of course, maybe they're not using a public cloud, or maybe they don't want to use HP's cloud platform. Maybe they're using a constrained cloud like government community cloud. So we built it into firmware. So HP Future Smart Devices now have Microsoft Universal Print, and we have Scan to SharePoint and Scan to OneDrive in there at the request of customers. So the adoption of Microsoft cloud services, and obviously from our point, from document locations like OneDrive and SharePoint, and of course Universal Print, is very important to customers, so we've met their needs by building it into the devices.
Yes, and I guess we're only going to see cloud adoption accelerating because of generative AI. And maybe we can finish on in terms of any predictions you have for the industry. I know AI is obviously taking centre stage, but is there anything you particularly think is going to be key in the print industry in 2025?
Yeah, so I think there are a couple of aspects. So first of all, around security.
Yeah.
So in terms of security, we're seeing people using AI, generative AI, to generate malware. So they'll take an established malware package and run it through AI to produce novel malware, and then use that to aim at endpoints or devices. And that's, if it's doesn't have a known signature, that's really difficult to protect against. So if we look at some of the technologies HP uses, like intrusion detection that looks at the behavior of the device, I think to a certain extent that's going to protect against novel AI-generated malware. But the other one is actually the behavior of the device. So if we look at things like a HP Connection Inspector, where in the unlikely case malware gets deployed to the device, we use machine learning to actually look at the behavior of outgoing network requests, for example, calling home to a command and control center, and that's already in the device. So we've already got that to see if malware gets in, what's it doing, and we can shut it down. So security is one important thing. The other thing is that when you look at multifunction devices these days, a lot of scanning is taking place for a scan destination. So paper's this kind of a transitory route, right? So you print something out, you don't do what you used to, is put it in a filing cabinet, but you might make markup and so on, or make some amendments or something, and then you scan it back in to a document workflow system. And obviously with things like handwriting, that's really quite difficult in some cases to recognize. So HP Scan AI, which has been trained on millions, even billions of pages, has superbly accurate handwriting recognition. So for example, if people are filling in forms or completing forms, we can drop that into a scan solution, and AI will actually pick up the content of that. It will look at the handwriting, wet signatures, that kind of thing, and be able to do validation on it. And also redaction. So for example, redact personal information from that, so that depending on who it's going to, we'll take out a person's maybe a date of birth, or maybe the social security number or so. But that's AI, and as it comes on, it learns what it should remove and what it shouldn't, and we've trained it on that. So AI is affecting both the device itself, but also the destinations where we're sending information to.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see HP Scan AI finally come to fruition, because I saw a demo of it quite a few years ago, so it's great to see that
it's been trained all that time,
yeah.
So there's some super accurate handwriting and recognition, pattern recognition in there now.
Yeah, and as you say, AI is going to be foundational to not only the printed page, but the document capture and the routing.
Absolutely.
And the management. So no, that's great. Well, thanks so much for sharing your insights and
No
joining
problem.
me today.
Thanks for the invite.
Thank you.